Today is Sunday, February 12th, 2023, and today I'm going to read Isaiah chapter 14. And I guess it's worth pointing out that today it's hilarious. Somebody today they said that today is like the second biggest holiday in America behind Thanksgiving for just like a food holiday, getting people together, and it's all over a football game, American football. And the amount of idolatry that goes on today for sports people, people that get paid a lot of money for sports, it's pretty insane how many people can get excited and rally and get passionate about sports. It blows my mind. It's one of those things where even non-religious people will see how depressing it is that one of the things in life that people seem to care most about is people that throw balls back and forth for money. It's crazy. I know people that when they're watching sports ball, they look like hypnotized. They're seriously hypnotized by all the people in spandex and stuff. It's strange. I can't relate to it whatsoever. I don't watch sports ball. I'm not knocking it if that's your thing, but the amount of idolatry, and it just makes me sick to my stomach how like this is what people care about. My sports. And it's always surprising too. You'll find these people that it's like, whoa, you care about sports? I'm not trying to make it out like I'm a better person than people that care about sports, but it's like, why is this the thing that makes people go nuts? So people throwing balls around. Bread and circus, I guess. Okay, Isaiah chapter 14. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. Very interesting the way that they talk about people here and possessing them to be servants and all that. Just very, very interesting, and tells you about the way that modern Jews kind of think of it. And yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lot of discussion and history there. Just the idea of people rights and slaves, etc. I don't know. That's just it's a big topic. Because I would love to have some help around here, and I don't think that they necessarily were treated like slaves, the way that we think of slaves in America. It's just such a loaded thing that we know that we're just being fed from history. So, but yeah, it's just very interesting, this part of the Bible. I'll just read it again. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. And it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow, and from thy fear, and from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve, that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, and say, How hath the oppressor seized, the golden city seized? The Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked, and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger, is persecuted, and none hindereth. So I see what's going on here, like a turning of tables idea, because back then they were the slaves. And so he's like, you're not going to be slaves anymore. Actually, the people who were enslaved you are going to come and be your servants and your maidens and handmaids and all that. But I think that you see modern day Jews adopt this type of attitude, like, hey, modern day Jews who, because of Revelation, I believe to be the synagogue of Satan. I don't think that people who call themselves Jews today, I don't believe them. But anyways, I think this is part of why they walk around with that attitude of thinking that they don't have to lift a finger, but everybody else has to do work for them. They think that they've inherited this because they think that their people suffered so greatly that they inherited the kind of cushy lifestyle that they have today. But I don't think we're here. I don't think we're here anymore. I think that we're on an even playing field right now. I don't think anyone is a special race of people anymore today. I think that the kingdom of heaven is available to anybody today, and that anybody who chooses to follow Jesus, first and foremost, is on the same level, and we're all brothers and sisters. I don't believe in this like chosen people thing anymore, especially since Book of Revelation says that the modern Jews, in the end, the people that claim themselves to be Jews are going to be the synagogue of Satan. And to me, it doesn't even make sense to call yourself a Jew today, because that basically means you're a Christ denier. If you're saying I'm still following Judaism, you're saying I don't believe that Jesus is the Messiah, because Jesus came and fulfilled everything. So there should not be any Jews today. But you see a lot of 501c3 type churches that still like put Jews up on this pedestal, and I think that they have it all wrong. I don't know why they don't understand Revelation that says that, and that they don't have eyes to just see the things that Jewish people do today, the people who call themselves Jews. Where were we? I think verse 7. Let's keep reading. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, Since thou art laid down, no feller is come up against us. Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up at the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It hath raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. All they shall speak and say unto thee, Art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy viols. The worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? Oh, this is such an important verse. I'm going to have to talk about this later in another video. So this, I'm going to have to go fact check now after this video is up. But I believe that this could be one of the most blasphemous translations in the NIV, Isaiah chapter 14, verse 12, because I am almost certain, I'm going to have to just go fact check this. If this video is published, it's because I checked it and this is true, that the NIV translates son of the morning as morning star. The NIV is a satanic translation of the Bible, and it gives Lucifer a heavenly title, because the morning star, the bright and morning star, is Jesus Christ. So the NIV, the non-inspired version, says that Lucifer is the morning star here, instead of son of the morning. Okay, I'm going to just keep reading. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. This, I believe, is very good evidence that north is the outside of the earth and not the inside of the earth. Just think about it. Why does everybody just accept the flat earth map that is handed to them? Nobody just comes up and hands you the deepest, darkest truth these days. Why do people think that the UN is just handing out people the flat earth map without any sort of deception going on there? I think the biggest deception about what the earth actually looks like, with respect to the way flat earthers get it wrong today, has to do with the north thing. They have it inside out. All you have to do is just think about how big the lands are in the north. If you look at a flat earth map, the ones that they just hand to you, all of the lands of the north get crammed into the center. I think that is totally backwards, totally wrong. I think that the reason that they hide Antarctica is because it's the center of the earth. I think that Antarctica has some special things going on there because it's the very center of the earth, and that's why. I don't even think they guard the north as much, because I don't even think you can get out there. Like, good luck getting into the far north. You're just going to freeze to death and die way before you get to the firmament, the edge of the firmament. I don't think that you can even try to get to the edge of the firmament before just freezing to death. Your boats, take a boat and just start going north. I think you're going to get stopped by just ice. And you're going to die from it being too cold. Antarctica, I think, is the center of the Earth, and there's probably a lot of cool stuff there that is more accessible than the far north. But anyways, wow, this turned out to be such a cool chapter. But notice how they say the sides of the north, which if the north was the center, I don't think of the center having sides as much as the outside being all of the sides. The sides of the north would be, that makes total sense if the north is the outside. I believe too Job also talks about the sides of the north. Okay, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee, and consider thee, saying, Is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness, and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the houses of his prisoners? Interesting there, too, talking about making the world as a wilderness and destroying the cities. Earth has never been this unpopulated, I don't think. The whole overpopulation thing is ludicrous. When you go around any downtown, you see rundown old buildings, empty shops, empty. This earth has never looked this abandoned as today. Desolate. And the Georgia Guidestones were all about returning to nature, getting rid of people. All the nations, or all the kings of the nations, even all of them, lie in glory, every one in his own house. But thou art cast out of thy grave like an abominable branch, and as the raiment of those that are slain, thrust through with a sword, that go down to the stones of the pit, as a carcass trodden under feet. Thou shalt not be joined with them in burial, because thou hast destroyed thy land, and slain thy people. The seed of evildoers shall never be renowned. Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. For I will rise up against them, saith the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name and remnant and son and nephew, saith the Lord. I will also make it a possession for the bittern and pools of water, and I will sweep it with the besom of destruction, saith the Lord of hosts. That's weird. It's almost like bosom, but I'm not sure what that word is. Besom of destruction. The Lord of hosts hath sworn, saying, Surely as I have thought, so shall it come to pass. As I have purposed, so shall it stand. That I will break the Assyrian in my land, and upon my mountains tread him under foot. Then shall his yoke depart from off them, and his burden depart from off their shoulders. This is the purpose that is purposed upon the whole earth, and this is the hand that is stretched out upon all the nations. For the Lord of hosts hath purposed, and who shall disannul it? And his hand is stretched out, and who shall turn it back? I love the continuity in Isaiah of God's hand constantly being out. I'm just really loving how he keeps returning to that idea. And his hand is stretched out, and who shall turn it back? In the year that King Ahaz died was this burden. Okay, cool. Some really interesting reading from Isaiah, and I'm just going to show a few things at the end of this video. Really quickly at the end here, I want to go over those 2 points that I talked about in the video. 1, Isaiah chapter 14 verse 12 is a blatantly satanic translation from NIV. If you read what they do here, they've replaced the word, O Lucifer. So in KJV it says, O Lucifer, where in this one it says, morning star. How you have fallen from heaven, morning star. So instead of saying how you have fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, they say morning star. But the morning star is a title for Jesus. So what they've done in the NIV is they replace Lucifer with a title for Jesus. And that's why it's blatantly satanic translation. There's so many problems with NIV, but this one is inexcusable. There's no reason to be replacing Lucifer with a title for Jesus. Morning star. Clearly satanic intentions there. Blasphemous translation. Revelation chapter 22, verse 16. I, Jesus, have sent mine angel to testify unto you these things in the churches. I am the root and the offspring of David, and the bright and morning star. So there you have it. Jesus is the morning star. not Lucifer, as the satanic NIV translation tries to say in Isaiah. I mean, so many questionable things in the NIV where it's like, why would you get rid of Lucifer? Why would you replace O Lucifer and replace it with Morning Star? I don't... they're going to have a very good explanation for why they would do something like that. But usually what you hear is that they do these translations to make things more easily readable. But it's almost never the case where the King James Version is like hard to read or hard to understand. I think that the King James Version is a very good version of the Bible. I don't know. I haven't studied. I'm not saying that it's like the only not corrupted Bible out there, but I know 100% that the NIV is a satanic translation of the Bible, and I know that the KJV is not corrupted like the NIV is. I'm not a Bible version like expert on all the different versions out there. There probably is more than one version that passes as inspired word and not corrupted. But I just thought this was really funny today that I ended up reading this, because today I went to 501c3 church today, and the pastor tried to say something negative about King James. And I think, like, specifically, maybe this is one of those scenarios where it's not about me, but I feel like it's about me, just because I know that the pastor now knows that I use King James Version. So the fact that they tried to talk down about it today is kind of like raising my eyebrows a little bit. It was a very like one-off comment. They just said, well, in the King James Version it's said this way, and then in the ESV or whatever, the specific example, I mean, if you guys are really curious what the specific example was, I can talk about it in the comments or something, or in another video. But it really was so minor, but I thought it was just weird that the pastor was like talking down on the KJV when they do exactly what I said in my other videos, where the pastor will use like 5 different versions, like BSB. I saw BSB earlier. What is the BSB? But they'll use all sorts of different versions all over the place. And then the fact that he tried to talk down on KJV for some stupid reason, and it's like, okay, but your church is filled with a version of the Bible that calls Lucifer Morning Star, which is a title for Jesus, and you don't have a problem with that? Anyways, maybe I'll have that conversation with them sometime. Guess we can pray for them. Pray for any pastors out there that are deceived by the world and they don't know that the NIV is totally satanic, and for whatever reason they think that KJV is not good. I don't understand. So I know that there's going to be a lot of wolves in sheep's clothing out there, but there's also going to be some people that are just deceived, and they went to seminary and they were taught certain ways. It's just like if you go to become a doctor today, you're going to get brainwashed with all sorts of garbage. So some doctors out there really do have a good heart and they want to help people. They don't know everything they learned in school is a bunch of garbage. Same thing out there. I think there could be some pastors that they have a good heart, but they get corrupted by all the Pauline stuff and the NIV, and so it's something that we can pray for, I guess, that the things that God showed us and that are so obvious to us can also be shown to other people that aren't awake to that aspect yet. And the shape of the earth. I mean, this is more like flat earth stuff. I just get so sick and tired of seeing everybody accept the flat earth BS that's pushed on them. Like, I just get frustrated sometimes that it's like people always fall into the same traps. Didn't we learn from our mistakes of always trusting the stuff that people hand us? That's just how I feel about you. Were able to get there to figure out that everything's a lie, and that everything that school teaches is a lie, and that earth is flat even. But then the second somebody hands you a map, you're not questioning it anymore, and this is it. It's the first one that's flat and that somebody handed to me. No questioning, no second thoughts. Because the flat earth, the UN version of the flat earth map doesn't make any sense. Just look at the lands of the north here. Okay, this is not a perfectly to scale map, but the point is that the orientation of the earth is correct. North should definitely be on the outside, because that's where all the land is in the north. And the southern lands are smaller. So note, this is not a perfectly to scale map, but the configuration of the continents is correct. on this one. Just the very first time somebody showed this to me, it rang so true. I was like, that is the correct one. Antarctica's in the middle, and it's the icy, cold lands of the far north that wrap around the edges like this. Anyways, this is just something I'm personally, this is a big personal fight for myself within the flat earth community, is that it seems like everybody just accepts what they're handed, but I'm a strong believer in north is outside. North is the outside, south is the center. I'm a strong believer in that, and I think that the Bible supports that. So I have a video on this in my playlist, my Science is Seance playlist. I think there's a video called Stop Using the Wrong Flat Earth Map. So if you're interested in that, you can go check it out. Hope you enjoyed this video. God bless everyone.